when we look at the youth that we have in Kenya in particular, it's a real entrepreneur-driven youth.
You know, the thing with young people, they don't have boundaries on what is possible and what is not possible. They can dream and they have that belief that they can do. All they need is to be enabled.
Right now, the need for the youth is very, very, very essential and important.
Encouraging the young people on the aspect of creation and thinking outside what we had termed as normal will be a success.
Ours is to make sure that we rise above as young people and create opportunities for other young people.
It's a question of directing them, showing them the way forward, and then we will become a great nation.
I'm James Nicole. I'm the Managing Director of Tribus TSG, which is a subsidiary of Centum Investments. So originally I began as the Director of Security. At the time my direct boss was Dr. James Moria, and because I think they have that entrepreneur spirit, they then pass that on to all the employees. So we realised that quickly we could grow outside of just being the Director of Security and form a subsidiary. So we put a business case together, sat with the boss, and he pretty much signed it off in not more than about 2 minutes. And that's when I walked out of his office realising, okay, now I have a Centum subsidiary. Now there's going to be a lot of pressure.
It started with a single contract. And James Nicole, who started it, did not even have an office. He used to work out of a cafeteria. And so I used to encourage him, James, that which you have, start with it. Now, if you think about the number of people who have been touched by Tribus today, they're in the thousands of people. Through their various ventures, direct employment, people have come in through Tribus, through Ajiry. So there's always a reason not to, but I think there's a bigger reason to try with what you have.
So Ajiry was interesting. As we started to grow the subsidiary, we realised we needed a high level of manpower that was very youth driven. I think we're probably the youngest subsidiary in Centum, and I mean that in both formation and in age. I don't think there's anyone who's outside of the millennial category. And so in finding that youth talent, we first looked to the National Youth Service.
I went to Gilgil and I saw NYS. I saw them marching and having a lot of energy. I saw the opportunity and I was asking the president, what can I do for these people? And therefore, he did allow me to partner with NYS to really come up with anything we could do after they graduate.
And we were then fortunate to be invited to the National Leadership Forum. And when we mentioned about supporting the national youth, this is where I almost got ambushed by the students with some of the questions of, well, what about us? And so we knew we could help both, but we didn't know how. So then pretty much the next morning we sat with the team and we started to whiteboard out how can we take both white collar and blue collar, highly disciplined, high skilled, high driven youth and channel them to their best selves. That's ultimately it, is how do we help them become the best of them? And that's where the team with Brian and Catherine, they were sort of leading that side of it of creating the Ajiry platform.
This application is playing a significant role in youth employment and placements because initially it was a really big challenge in terms of the youth getting access to opportunities that are readily available in time, and also it was a challenge also for the employers to locate the specific skill set that they are looking for that are matching the requirements that they have at hand. And so yes, with a young team of 5, we developed the application within 11 days, and in May the application was launched.
Along the way, I had the opportunity to meet with Ms. Rita Roy, the Global CEO of Mastercard Foundation. And Mastercard Foundation, their focus is around providing meaningful employment to the youth, giving them an opportunity to have meaningful jobs. And we had an interesting conversation where she was explaining to me what it is they were doing, and she was seeking my views on how they can do it better in this region, or what ideas I had. And I shared with her an example of what we were doing in a small way, because what we had started was in a very modest way. And I invited her to come over to the office if she had an opportunity to come and hear from the team on what they had done. And when she came, and she came with her team, and they heard from the team on what they had done, they were fairly impressed, and they then gave a grant to help them scale it up. Scale it up now to move not just from a digital, but to expand it to the rest of the country.
It's been a learning experience, because through the Mastercard Foundation, now the youth who are given that platform, if you are good in media, we are able to get equipment for these media students. If you are gifted in, fashion, through the grant again, we are able to get the machinery like the sewing machines that these youth need to use so as to showcase their talent. So now that we have that platform, I think it's very promising. We've been able to meet our targets, and even there's that aspect of independency, and there's also that aspect of self-motivation, because now the youth are more motivated, and even the ideas that they have been showcasing, even they're more challenging, and we've been able even to take and even implement some of these ideas.
I feel Ajiry can make a difference in this nation of ours. Any part which the government cannot do, Ajiry can do.
Centum Foundation and Centum as a group wanted to do something to help with COVID. There was a few ideas around the water distribution and obviously food.
During my time with Ajiry, we have been able to develop several applications, one of them being the zero contact distribution system, which has proven very important during the COVID-19 situation.
Some of the challenges we are facing is, how do we identify the vulnerable families? How do we reach them? How do we ensure accountability? How do you create a track record of who has received the food, who has not received the food? And so we then said, okay, let's look for a system. And in fact, we received a number of proposals of various systems. But the problem was the cost of the system and the cost of running the system was almost as much as the food that we were going to give. So within a day or two, James Nicol sent me a prototype and said, I figured out this, how we can do it. We figured out how we can do it, and this is the system. And we encouraged them, why don't you go ahead and develop it, and then let's trial it. So that's how it started.
We then, as we always do, come and sit with the team, throw out the problem, and then everybody just throws in ideas and solutions and everything else. And I think from point of design to a functioning system was less than 72 hours. And if you look at, I don't think there's one system like it around the world. There's a great example of Kenyan youth showing the world what can be done during such a horrific time of COVID.
And then once they did it, we then said, because counties and national government and other people and churches and the community have the same problem, so let's roll it, let's see what we can do in terms of opening it up for other people who want to use it for free as part of our contribution. And so they also came again and supported us in terms of scaling it up, server capacity, and on the technical side. And now they're looking at using this system to scale it up to the rest of the continent. So a couple of counties picked it up. Kilifi County picked it up, Laikipia County picked it up, churches picked it up, and today I think maybe over 100,000 families have been reached using the system.
It's very evident that we have quite a number of families that are going through economic hardships due to the COVID-19. So one of the things we wanted to do at least is to cushion some of the families with food hamper that could take them at least for about 2 weeks. And one of the biggest problems that we faced was how do we go about distributing the food while still maintaining the guidelines of social distancing. And that's why we thought we could partner with Ajiry and Tribus Foundation because they had done it before, and we knew that they had a system that does zero contact distribution. So that's how the partnership came about.
The zero contact distribution application gives the people who are willing to do the food distribution the ability to be able to come up with digital vouchers which are generated again by the zero contact distribution application. Then once we generate those vouchers, we also get a list of how many beneficiaries are we willing to target. For example, if we are targeting 1,000 beneficiaries, we'll only award 1,000 vouchers, which then we send them as a text message. So once we send the message to them, they show up, and then we use the youth to do the verification of the voucher. So once the beneficiary comes in with the voucher, we feed in the last 6 digits of the voucher to the system just to cross-check whether it's a valid voucher. So one-time secret code is sent to their phone number, and once we cross-check just to verify this is the beneficiary, then we can hand over the food parcels to them.
Nĩtagwo Naomi Wambui wa Ithaka. Ndarĩ na anake erĩ. Ũmwe akĩnyua njohi agĩkua, ũrĩa ũngĩ akĩrwara agĩkua. Rĩu ngĩtigwo ndĩ mũtĩ ndũgamĩte ũũ. Rĩu thengiũ nĩ gũtũhe kĩndũ gĩa kũrĩa. Arĩa marehete marathimwo, arĩa maratũrora marangĩrwo. Twĩna gĩkeno tondũ nĩ tũracugurĩkĩrwo andũ arĩa ahũthũ.
As National Youth Council, we want to applaud actually the young people who sat and developed the zero contact application. That is one of the major innovations that have been developed during this pandemic. And we believe that given the challenges we are facing, young people have a solution. This is a time we are facing unemployment, the highest rates of unemployment. As a youth born in this generation, ours is to make sure that we rise above that as young people and create opportunities for other young people. And that is the only way collectively we can harness our potential, our innovation, our creativity to make sure that we have a better society.
The challenges are there, the obstacles are there, but an idea that you create is your idea. How you maximize your opportunity and your space on the digital platform is what will make you unique.
We've made quite a couple of partnerships, especially with youth-driven organizations and also girl-child supporting organizations, because again, a society is built up by a family.
Before, we were fighting to be included at the decision-making table. Now we're at the table. So now we are fighting more of let our ideas, our inputs influence the decisions. Because it's one thing to be at the table, it's another thing for your inputs to be taken up.
We are working to create a community whereby you are not limited by your age, you are not limited by your gender. Now that I'm a youth, success to me is touching my fellow youth's life. How can I be part of a solution in your problem? How can we work together and also again come up with a solution that is able to reach out our community and also send out a message to the entire world that once we're working together and we trust and embrace each other, we can be able to become a better generation.
Jina langu ni Brian Mwau kutoka Centum Investment na tuko hapa courtesy of Centum Foundation and hii kitu unaona tumevalia hapa inaitwa Ajiry. Hiyo system mmekuwa mkitumia inaitwa Zero Contact Distribution System na hiyo system ilijengwa na vijana, sisi vijana.
Kuna wakati tuliandikishwa majina na namba ya simu na kitambulisho. Baada hiyo tukangojea ndio tumetumiwa message. Mwenye alituandikisha akatembea akituambia kuna message umepata. Nikamwambia ndio, sawa, kesho uende Westlands. Kusoma hiyo message ikaniambia by 11 nikuwe hapa.
So mi jana ndio nimepata message kutoka Kenyan Bank. Inasema tuko na nini ya chakula Westlands Primary, tukuje tu redeem. Inasaidia sana, manake hakuje kuwa na msongamano wa watu kupigana ama kuumizana. Imesaidia sana manake watu wengi chakula imekuwa ni shida. Juu wakati tulisimamishwa kazi inakuwa sasa kupata chakula ni shida.
Tafadhali msichukulie hiki kitu kwa mzaha. Wash your hands, sanitize, social distancing, sawa? Just observe. Mimi nataka kushukuru Centum, Kenyan Bank na Mastercard na wale vijana wetu ambao wametusaidia kufika hapa leo. Ni kusaidiana. Na hawa wanakumbuka ni nani wanawafanya wakuwe na biashara kati yetu. Kwa sababu bila watu hiyo biashara haitakuwa.
I used to be an acrobat and I used to hustle here and here. I sometimes entered into bad company where I used to use drugs. But once we went through NYC and Ajiry, we started empowering ourselves, whereby they did a training. They taught us how to verify people and they empowered us with work. Now we are being paid and the process of giving out foods. Life ilikuwa hard sana juu it was hard to make ends meet. Saa ingine unaingilia tu crime tudogo tu kuiba simu, lakini venye niliona marafiki wangu wanauliwa nikaona that is the bad way. I better choose the right virtues za kulive. And ndio decide sasa nisome, nifanye manual simple jobs za NYC na Center. Wametusaidia sana vijana wa mtaa. Saa hii mshahara inaingia, unadunga, unanunua nguo safi, unalipa rent, na ujue bado sisi ni young families. Tuko na watoi wa mtaani na wife. So saa hii unaweza wabaia food, unaweza buy hata chakula poa wakule 3 meals per day.
Kuri mundu uri handu horu muno arageria gutarania akageria kwaria gukarema akageria kuria igwika atia no njitire o uyu uri iguru.
Majina ni Joseph Kamenjo Kariuki, Assistant Chief Ndonyoloi Sublocation, ambaye county government ilisema wale watu ambao wamefinyika zaidi, wale wakongwe na wale wamefinyika juu ya corona waandikwe ili waweze kupata chakula. Watu ambao wanapatiwa chakula siku ya leo ni watu 200. Kuanzia jana walipata message wakuja wachukue chakula siku ya leo. Kwa hivyo walikuja asubuhi mwendo wa saa 2 na wakaanza kupewa chakula, na ndio chakula inaendelea kutoka kwa county government.
Jina langu ni David Waithaka. Hapa tulialikwa na county government kuja kuchukua chakula ya msaada ile inapeanwa kwa sababu ya hii ugonjwa ya corona. Iliingia katika simu yangu message ya kunialika leo tarehe 18 niwe hapa saa 3 katika hii shule ya Ndonyoloi Primary School. Na ndipo nikaasili na sasa nimepokea kile nilikuwa tunaitiwa chakula ile tulikuwa tunaahidiwa.
Ngetagwo Millicent Nyaguthie wa Mutigaire Clement Kinyua. Itũra rĩrĩ ndokire 83. Kwarĩ ng'aragu nene mũno na riũa inene mũno. Andũ nĩ macokanagĩrĩrio handũ rĩu toguo magũcokanĩrĩire makaheo irio ciumĩte na nja. Harĩ o mũndũ wothe rĩ, niĩ no njuge nĩ thengiũ na njuge nĩ wega tondũ nĩ mwatũririkana ona ũrĩa ũrehete irio icio nĩ eka wega mũno.
Having made the zero contact distribution system and seeing it work finally live, it made me very satisfied. And the fact that we could at least help the needy get food and minimize contact with other people and avoid getting the COVID-19 virus, that is very satisfying.
I'm at that stage of my life. Initially, it was about enabling myself to manifest my potential. Now I'm at that stage where I'm able to enable others and to enable others at scale, where you're now able to have a platform where you can touch the lives of thousands of young people to access opportunities that would otherwise be very difficult for them. And for me that is very, very fulfilling. Because you have no idea of these 6,000 people who have gotten an opportunity. In there, they might be a future president of this country. But to have that platform where you can enable others to access opportunities, to be the best possible versions of themselves, I think for me there's no bigger blessing than that.
I'm Nancy Wanjiru. I'm 22 years old. Nilikuwa nafanya kazi town. I was doing clothes designs for women's and gents. From March, hapo ndio job ilianzia kuwa affected. We closed at April. Since niachi job huko, nimekaa home hadi nikapata Ajiry, which sijaifanya, but I'm still learning. But I think I can go far with the events we are doing here. Tunaweza make like to open my own company. Yeah, I have learned a lot.
Ajiri program has changed my life because initially I was not working because I lost a job. So at this time I can tackle my own personal issues. I can afford my basic needs without depending on someone else. Ajiri has got very, very many opportunities. And I know that as long as I'm working with Ajiri, I can do a lot. It's not a must that I will be an hygiene specialist. One day, one time, I might get into another sector.
My name is Christine Kawira. I'm 25 years old. I work under Tribus Solution Groups as a security personnel to reverse mall. Yeah, Ajiry has helped me pay my bills. It has helped me be independent. Basically, I want to grow. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to help others who are behind me.
At around March is when our country got hit by the COVID. That's when the first case of COVID-19 was reported. At that time, we were doing very well, actually. We were rolling out the Ajiry centers and awaiting actually for the official launch of these centers. But due now to the COVID, things started going slow. And that's when, again, the Ajiry team developed the Learn with Ajiry, which is African first mass open source online free courses. And that now allowed a student in a county, for example, like Mombasa, don't have to commute all the way to Eldoret and take a specific training, but from the specific county where they are. And again, thanks to Mastercard Foundation, we have now fully fitted Ajiry centers. They are able to go to the Ajiry centers and access laptops and be able to access these free online materials and do their studies from their respective counties and even graduate and keep on being appraised. And those are some of the measures that we've been able to take so as to make sure that the trainings are efficient and effective.
It's been an exciting journey. We've seen many youths get job employment, and that has really made us feel we are really achieving the objectives of why we started Ajiry. The center we are in right now is the Kiambu County Center, located at the Kenyatta University, and especially at the Student Business Center. That's where the Ajiry Center is located. Apart from doing the HR function of the manager, you also do the administrative function. And then of course you have key performance indicators that you're given as a center to achieve. And that mainly include, number one, registering Ajiry users to the platform. So meaning you have to mobilize a team, create a work plan, create activities that are going to help you achieve such objectives. We're also in charge of training the youths, and as well as creating gig employment, and also making the center sustainable. So meaning you have to be able to get partners that you can partner with, either do proposals and see which organizations are doing what you're doing and how you can be able to partner with them and leverage on what they're doing and what you're doing, and see how you can both achieve your main objectives. It's a whole big project that we are required to manage.
So when we look at the youth that we have in Kenya in particular, it's a real entrepreneur-driven youth. They're very much hungry, they're very much self-driven, and they love tech. And so that misconception that technology isn't here really needs to disappear quickly before the rest of the world realizes it's been overtaken. Because Africa is the youngest youth that's coming through, and they're not looking to sit around. They're looking to drive things, they're looking to push technology, and they're looking to push that.
And so there are many things we've tried, many things that have not worked. But one thing we've done is that we've learned, we've enjoyed ourselves, and they are fed into what has eventually worked.
I would like to thank the Mastercard Foundation through the Young African Works initiative. I would also like to thank Centum Investment Company, and also Tribus TSG, and all our partners as Ajiry, including the National Youth Council, Equal Innovation Hub, and many others. The partners are so many. Also, lastly, I would like to thank the Ajiry family that actually started as 5, but we've grown from hundreds to thousands now.
We look forward because right now the need for the youth is very essential and important. And we like to say thank you once more to Mastercard Foundation for partnering with us in order to achieve whatever we can manage to do in the future, because we need to build a great nation, and we cannot do it on our own. It can only be done in partnership.
Nasema asante.
Tunawaambia tu asante.
Na Ngai amurathime. Na niguo ndirauga ni undu ni aturirikana.